Well, hello. I'm Martin Ebley. We're here to talk about the Cayman Islands as a captive insurance domicile today. Um, and three of us here. Andrew, Cayman Islands is home to you, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, I was born and raised in the Cayman Islands, so this is definitely home.
Yep, indeed. It's absolutely in your blood, as indeed is the captive insurance business, but more of that another time, perhaps. Apart from you as a sort of Cayman born native, Kevin McGinley, Kevin, you lived in Cayman for how long? Was it 5 years?
It was almost 6 years.
Gosh, yes. And I was there for 7 years. So we all know the place pretty well, and we have a great fondness for it. Um, Talk a little bit about, however, Cayman as a domicile for captive insurance companies. Um, it's a very well established jurisdiction for captives. It's been around a long time, and it's been enormously successful. It is number two or number three, I think, in the worldwide ranking of number of captives. And it's particularly well known for captives with a healthcare link. So lots of hospital systems and other healthcare industry businesses and indeed non-profits have their captives in the Cayman Islands. But also very much a center of the group captive world. That's a very big part of what goes on in the Cayman Islands, together with program business. So I'm talking about agency captives and the like. So all of those things, other single parent captives, of course, and one of the early leaders in the adoption of the idea of the protected cell company, which actually flies under a different name in Cayman. It's a segregated portfolio company there, but the effect is the same. And apart from that sort of broad overview, I think something else to say about the Cayman Islands, and I don't say this in comparison necessarily to anywhere else, but I think it's important to note, is that it very much is a captive center of excellence. There is a real concentration of captive expertise there amongst all service providers, whether that's captive managers, auditors, actuaries, and the like, and indeed very experienced regulators. And I think that's important. They've seen a great deal over the years. Not much phases them, and of course they're open for business, which is always good to know. Andrew, your experience is fairly deep. What do you think are sort of the main attractions of the Cayman Islands compared, let us say, to other offshore jurisdictions for the moment?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think Cayman has a long history. The first captive was established in 1976. It was to insure Harvard's Medical Center. And so they've got a long history of regulation around captives. SEMA is very experienced, as you said. They have some real experienced regulators. They've been doing this for a long time. Insurance is one of the pillars of SEMA's business. So, it's a real focus where time and effort and energy goes into. Right now, I think as of Q1 2024, they had just under 700 captives licensed here, with a little over $58 billion in premiums. So, it is a mainstay of the economy here, and it's a big part of what we do. As you said, it's a real center for healthcare. We have a lot of healthcare captives based here. We do a lot of hospitals, hospital systems, things like that. And especially any of those, not-for-profits as well. But we have a lot of single parent captives. There's different groupings of captives here from B1, B2, B3. There's license C and D as well. And they're even looking to update that just to make sure that they stay in touch with the most up-to-date regulation and service to all the captives. One thing I would say that SEMA prides itself on is its transparency and it's open for businesses. We've met with SEMA on a number of cases with our captives. They really have a focus on getting in front of you and meeting the captives and the captive owners and making sure that they understand your business and they can help you as long as you're following the regulations.
Yeah, the history I think is important and the experience is important. Kevin, you were there, as you say, for almost 6 years, and after 6 years of enjoying the Caribbean lifestyle and all the good things that come from living in the Cayman Islands, you've returned to Ireland. Tell us a bit about your time in Cayman, and the things that you came across. What did you like about it? And no, let's not sugarcoat it. Where were there challenges, if you can think of any?
So I saw a good variety when I was working in Cayman, which is always nice. Whether it's single parent captives or group captives, and in the structure, we also had a public entity as well that have their captive as well based in the Cayman Islands. So we had a good spread of the types of programs that we see. And Andrew mentioned, the best thing about the regulator is it doesn't matter the type of program. Oftentimes they've seen it before. And sometimes if you're doing something outside the box thinking, they are always willing to work with you. They have strong laws and regulations that allow a framework for innovation as well as your just regular standard programs. Our clients loved go to the Cayman Islands for board meetings. I know in particular the group captives always enjoyed their board meetings coming over, that it wasn't just a time to spend thinking about the captive, but also it's time to think about risk management, to network with their industry and association peers, as well as other businesses as well, depending on whether it's a heterogeneous or homogeneous group captive. So there was a lot of benefits to captive owners in group captives to be able to share their experiences in the Caymans, which also had a beautiful setting for them. I think Cayman has a really strong domicile offering. So as you mentioned, to the service providers, but also as to the flat fee structure of the Caymans, that there's no premium taxes levied, no taxes levied at all unless you elect to be a federal US taxpayer. They have a flat license fee, which is just over $10,000 for a single parent captive, insuring their own risk, or slightly more of just under $13,000 for people doing third party business. That often makes it very attractive from a cost perspective, depending on how the captive can be structured. There is also a lot of developments in the Caymans for the reinsurance market as well. So it's not just captives, but we also see a lot of life and annuities companies. There's a lot of redomiciling from Bermuda. There is a lot of retrocession business coming from the States as well for opportunities within the reinsurance space. So I think when we look at Cayman as a whole, it's an ever-evolving domicile. So yes, healthcare and group captives are their foundation and strength, which they love to work on. But they have a lot of single parent captives, and they're also evolving into more of a reinsurance hub, where we have seen a lot of re-domiciles, whether from Barbados or from Bermuda into the Cayman Islands, because they have very favorable but fair regulations for life and annuities business as well. So that's also a huge driver for Cayman.
Yeah, I would just
That's a
add to
good
that as
point.
well. The reinsurance side, Circa just had their first reinsurance conference down here, and they were hoping for a little over 100 people to attend. They got almost 500. So the reinsurance business is really growing. There's a lot of interest in that, and it's we've had a lot of redomicilings from Bermuda and a lot of just new startups setting up in Cayman for their reinsurance.